All set to go for qualifying for round 2 of the NTT INDYCAR series. It's qualifying order set by the reverse points standings. It's our first oval qualifying of 2026, and you're going to have a load of features getting ready on the screen. Let's get set then and join our radio commentary unit as well down on the track and join INDYCAR Radio.
With Santino, Ferrucci, and then Dixon, the first 3 out.
Well, you know, so much time is spent talking about tires, especially with the allotment and how they're forced to use them on the street courses this year. We don't talk as much about it, but it's still equally important. And notes from our friends at Firestone, the right rear tire construction is derived from a super speedway specification that was developed for Nashville Speedway, and then the construction of the 2 left side tires is a carryover from Worldwide Technology Raceway.
Okay, a little bit interesting because this track's so different and unique from all of them, but I could see that right side just to make sure that the durability of that tire is there, Mark. And this track, you're like I say, we talked about how fast you're going around there, so there's a lot of, you know, you push a lot of pressure on those right side tires. So it's a situation to where, you know, they have to be durable. But then on the left sides, that's where your grip comes from. That's where you want a lot of drive out of these race cars, and that's going to help them keep the cars tight, be able to get under power coming off these corners.
So we've got Mick Schumacher set to roll off first, then Santino, Ferrucci, Scott Dixon, Will Power, and Stingray Robb will be the first 5. Let's get an update on the conditions on this sunsplash day here at Phoenix from Alex Wolf.
Sunshine, not a cloud to be seen with these blue skies today here at Phoenix Raceway. Ambient temperature at 69, track temperature is at 93, and we also have some winds that are gusting up here at Phoenix Raceway as we get set to go for this qualifying session.
Yeah, there's no question, Davey. The wind is noticeable. Maybe not as gusty as it was yesterday, but still noticeable.
Yeah, definitely noticeable. I mean, it's not as gusty. I think it's pretty unique, but here's the difference. It's different, a little bit of wind today, and it's going to be a different direction tomorrow as well. Right now, it's a bit of a tailwind going down this front straightaway into turn 1. Tomorrow, it's going to be just the opposite.
Single car incident in practice for Felix Rosenquist. A lot of damage to that race car, DJ Clark.
Yeah, and I had the chance to talk to Mike Shank a little bit earlier today, and he told me with a glum face they are not going to be ready for qualifying. They are hopeful that the car will make it out in time for highline practice later on this afternoon, but Felix Rosenquist will be a no-go for quali here. He will start on the back of the field.
I know that you have the experience of testing here, but truth be told, it's a vastly different animal, and considering how long it's been since we've been here, that's going to be a tough mountain for that race team to climb.
Yeah, it is, man. Every lap, not just here, but everywhere we go, because we're reduced to practice times, it seems like, over the past years. And every lap counts. Every lap, you're learning and knowing what that car is going to do. So, unfortunately, he's going to start tailing on this field. And when you start on the back of this field, especially early on, you're really in jeopardy of going a lap down right immediately, and that's never where you want to be.
We talked about the characteristics of this racetrack, and one of the noticeable things is once you clear that start-finish line, you come upon that very expansive apron there, but as per the rules for the NTT INDYCAR Series, drivers cannot venture down.
Yeah, we're not going to venture down that way, say above that, to make it a true dogleg. And by the way, if you just take a look down where we're able to take really good advantage of it, it's a fairly good corner. I remember my first time here, we talked about it earlier, my first time here in the rear engine car in the wing, that dogleg, you weren't wide open through there. You had to lift through there. It was almost like a corner. Well, these cars have so much downforce, you're not only wide open through there, but fairly easily. But when it comes side by side, racing through there, that's a whole different challenge, as we see Mick Schumacher pulling out right now, Mark.
Yeah, he's pulling out now, and he just exited turn number 2 after he went back out onto the course at about halfway point to turn number 1, running a very low line, and sees the car wash out a little bit as he clears the start-finish line for the first time. Schumacher dangerously close to that outside retaining wall, just a couple of inches off of it, building speed at the bottom of the racetrack, and we'll have Davey Hamilton keep an eye on his line, and we'll see what Mick Schumacher, he said, yeah, I'll take the rookie designation and distinction, but I am a rookie in name only. And the green flag flies, and he points it toward turn number 1, Davey.
Yeah, nice looking line on that first lap down into turn 3, crossing that finish line. Really looks solid. Looks fast. How fast those cars look down through 3 and 4, or 1 and 2 down there.
Yeah, got to be awfully fast to watch it unfold throughout the course, especially when we get all 25 cars out there. Clears turn 3 at the setup for turn number 4. White flag flies for Schumacher, and it looks like lap number 1 is in the books. Looks like 173.776 miles per hour.
Yeah, and that really matches what he did earlier this morning. So we'll see if he can gain some on this lap right here. It's good when you can back up what you did in the morning, that's for sure. Nice line through there, cross that finish line. We'll see what this lap could do.
173.776. Lap number 2, 173.557. The 2-lap average for Mick Schumacher, 173 and change, Davey.
Yeah, not bad. I mean, I take that as a rookie. I don't, I think it's going to be mid-pack or back, but that's still really good run for him. A lot of confidence. Unfortunately, he had to be the first guy out, as we talked about, which is never easy.
Yeah, somebody's got to be the first one out.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. Man, when you're a rookie in our series, matter of fact, you haven't made a race lap yet in our series, and you're the first one out to qualify for this second race.
And you've got some veterans coming up now. You've got, let's see, Santino Ferrucci getting ready to put his car through the warm-up paces. Then we'll see Scott Dixon and then Will Power, and we'll continue to work our way through the field now as we get ready to set the field for the Good Ranchers 250 at Phoenix Raceway. What a beautiful day it is here. Santino Ferrucci looking for a rebound, caught up in a mess on the opening lap, walked away understandably frustrated.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, when you go into turn 4 on the first lap and you get taken out. Unfortunately, his car wasn't hurt badly, but in that situation, they just take your car to a rest area, not back to pit lane to keep the race going. They weren't able to fix it. He got no laps in either, so this is kind of his first round of opportunity to go have a good starting spot for the race.
Santino Ferrucci sees the green flag fly now as he points it toward turn number 1. He gets to the bottom of the racetrack, left sides, pretty close to that line at the bottom of the racetrack, and hugs that outside retaining wall all the way to turn number 3.
A great line right to the bottom. You can see they venture up very quickly, right? The apex is early, and then they come up high across that start-finish line. First lap is a good one.
172.049. Again, 172.049 for Santino Ferrucci, Davey, already exiting and headed toward turn number 3.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a little bit better lap, a little more confidence in that car, a little more heat in the tires. Looks like he may have a little understeer right now coming off of turn number 3.
172.049 on lap number 1. Lap number 2, 169.130. 2-lap average, 170.577. A bit of a fall off, couple of mile an hour to lap number 2.
Yeah, I think down here in turn 3, it just seemed like he had to really keep it on the bottom and try to keep that car to turn. Really wanted to wash high coming off that corner into turn 4.
How much are these drivers paying attention and using their spotters to pay attention to some of the lines that the other drivers are running? Does that help them at all, or is that communication strictly between teammates?
Yeah, no, I think that they probably have some people just keep an eye on the track, seeing where everybody's going, see what it feels like. But in the day, man, you got to go out there and just kind of feel it yourself. One thing about this racetrack is there is kind of a preferred line, kind of a best line around here, so to speak, to get the maximum speed out of your car. You're not really searching a lot. I think that you just have to move around and adjust for what your particular car is doing on this racetrack.
Scott Dixon, one of a handful of drivers, 5 in fact, who have raced here previously. Back in 2018, the last visit here, started 17th and came home in 4th. Had a top 5 finish in 2017. In 2016, he finished on the top spot of the podium. 12th place in 2005. He was a runner-up in 2004 and finished 20th back in 2003. A veteran everywhere he goes, obviously.
Yeah, no question about it. And I think one good thing, he had a decent practice run this morning. I think maybe top 12. Not great, but you know what? His teammate, Alex Plow, he was right towards the top of the charts. They went back to that truck. They're sharing information. Scott is that guy. I don't foresee him being on the pole right now, but at the end of the race, they are usually there. He's still going to challenge for wins, no question about it. Looks really good down there in turns 1 and 2, coming off down that back straightaway, heading down into turn 3.
Aaron Likens waved him past the start-finish line. He's already setting up for turn number 3, ready to complete lap number 1. For Scott Dixon, lap number 1 is in the books. 172.434 miles per hour, already setting up for turn 2.
Yeah, looking good in turn 2 as well, right to the bottom of that racetrack. They get through there so fast, he's already on that back straightaway heading down towards turn 3, Mark.
They stay against that outside retaining wall all the way to the entrance to turn number 3, and then they let that car gobble up to the bottom of the racetrack. And lap number 2 for Scott Dixon, a tick slower, 171.715 miles per hour off of 172.434. The 2-lap average, 172.074 for Scott Dixon.
Yeah, not where he wanted to be, but you know who's smiling right now and with a little bit of confidence is Mick Schumacher. Out of those three really good guys, or 2 good guys behind him that have a lot of history, he's beat both of them.
And again, he was mired toward the bottom of timing and scoring throughout most of the practice. And Davey, last 20 minutes or so, we saw him slide up inside the top 15.
Yeah, that's right. I think 11th, man. Almost a top 10. So really good job for him. I'm anxious to see him not only for this race but for our entire year and that Ray Hall Letterman camp. And he's got some great teammates there as well. I think Graham's really behind him. Graham was the first one today, by the way, that came out and just got after it and put a good lap down.
Well, let's hear from Mick Schumacher.
Mick, first oval qualifying session. Take us through that run.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be quick, not quite this quick. So interesting quick in terms of time. It felt so fast and, very rushed, everything. We have a lot of things to do today. I think with a little bit of a broken up FP there for us in terms of preparation, maybe not great, but overall I think as a team we had a good base, already from the test. So we're happy, I think, with what we have done so far, and we'll see where we're going to start in the race.
That's Mick Schumacher. Over to DJ Clark.
Down with Santino Ferrucci. Santino, Davey was complimentary of your line, but not looking like the fastest run. What's the car missing?
No, we were really good in free practice, man. That's what happens when you get taken out at the start of a year and you got to go one of the first 2 cars. Probably just lacking some downforce. Got super tight in 1 and 2, and I nearly spun it in 3 and 4, trying to make adjustments. And then
we got one in the wall right now. We got power in the wall.
Stuff like that. So just hanging on, and yeah, we'll just pass a lot of cars tomorrow. It'll be fun.
All right, that's Santino Ferrucci.
And Davey Hamilton off a lap at a 174 plus. Will Power has made contact with the outside wall.
What a tough start to the year for Will Power with that new team. He had a really good lap going down, was fastest that we have seen so far. The line looked great. Went down into turn 1 and 2 on that final lap, and you could just see early on the back of that car just started sliding out, and he just could not salvage it. It turned around. We're going to see a replay right now. It looks solid, looks clean, and then all of a sudden you just seen the back of the car just start coming around. He has quick hands, but not quick enough. Sometimes the commitment is so high. He does hit the wall pretty hard, straight backwards, wing folding down. He's able to continue to roll on with that left rear kind of hanging off the wheel.
Did he commit too early to that turn, which upset the rear end of the car?
I don't think so. We got it on board right now. No, his turn was really kind of spot on. It's just as he turned in, you can just see the back of the car lost all grip. And at that point, like I say, it's such high commitment for a driver. You have to have a lot of trust in that car and that it's going to lock down. And he did. He went in there like it was going to stick. But unfortunately, especially on corner entry like that, it's almost impossible to save those cars. And, after a couple accidents last week in St. Petersburg, and now after a really good first lap, that same thing here, just no grip. And that was early in the corner, the just not enough downforce in the back of the car. And we've seen Santino Ferrucci right as we were talking about that, where he's nearly spun it out in one corner, which would be the opposite corner, and was pushing really bad in the other one. So obviously looked like he had a good balance. The time showed on that first lap, but unable to complete the second one.
Well, we hope to catch up with him in medical, but I would imagine that we've seen that time and time again on these ovals where without explanation, the rear end of that car, for whatever the reason, just goes away.
It just goes away. And, I mean, you're just along for the ride. Trust me. I mean, we've all been there. And one thing with Mick Schumacher, what he said, because everything happens so fast. And, by the way, when it comes to qualifying here, it happens so fast. I mean, you're in, you're gone, you're wide open right off the bat. You get one warm-up lap, and you got to lay 2 good ones down. You really don't get the opportunity to fill that car out and take a couple laps, say, okay, here's the bounce of that car. You just have to go for it. And you have to, to be towards the front, you have to go for it. And sometimes the bounce of the car is not quite where it needs to be, and I think that was the situation with Will.
Safety trucks taking a long look up there in that portion of the racetrack, Davey, and I think they're taking a long look at that outside retaining wall because he made pretty good contact up there.
Yeah, both the accidents we had, which is Rosenquist and now Power, they hit with the back of the race car. So what happens then is we have an attenuator, we call that, on the back of the gearbox, but that is the most rigid part of the car, and sometimes that cause damage to the safer barrier by putting a little bit of a hole in there. If you hit sideways on the wheels, it usually doesn't affect that safer barrier, but when they go in backwards, and one thing that all these racetracks do, and we talked about earlier, the people that install these safer barriers, they make sure that that it's completely smooth. Sometimes you have to weld a plate over any small hole like that. Looks like that could be the repair truck at the wall right now making that fix.
Not ideal for these two guys we're about to tell you, but, 24th and 25th, we could see Power and Rosenquist, and that could be entertaining to watch at the start of the race.
Yeah, I feel bad for both those guys. I mean, obviously, Rosenquist, he needs some results. It's time for him to be, when he's at Meyer-Shank, they love him over there. He likes being there. We've seen him on poles before. We've seen him been a roll, but if you look at the win list, it's just not quite there yet. He's just missing out something to get those wins, but this is a year for him to really try to succeed at that. I think he has a multi-year contract. There's no pressure on him, but I have to say with Will, he has such high aspects after going from Penske. Talking to the WG team, they want Will there because he's bringing a lot to the table on how to go to procedurally and how to go about things and how to make sure the cars are the same and things like that. But last week there was a mechanical issue that got him, and this weekend, honestly, the car's just a little too free. That means that him and his engineer probably need to start working together a little bit more and having that car set up to the Will Power's liking. We know he's got more poles than anybody else in this series, so he knows how to qualify.
Well, for the novice out there, you use the phrase the car was set up too free. Just to simplify that a bit.
Yeah, well, and too free for us is the back of the car just not glued to the racetrack to where you're chasing the back of that car around. Any kind of IndyCar race, you really want the front end to be the one that slides, not the back end. And you don't want it sliding very much, just enough to give you confidence that the back end is locked down. The front end may slide a little bit, it may cost you a little bit of time, but for safety and control of the car, you can be much faster that way on ovals than you can with that back end trying to turn around.
So again, a single car incident involving Will Power, the second of the day, the first one involving Felix Rosenquist, and Felix is hopeful that they'll be able to get out for that final practice session. And Davey, I don't know how much luck Will Power is going to have with that. Depends on the level of damage. It looked like it was pretty extensive, but boy, I tell you, a pretty short window once qualifying wraps up until we have that practice this afternoon.
Yeah, that's right. And we're going to, a little replay here again. His hit wasn't near as hard as Rosenquist, but still did a lot of damage to that race car, no question about it. Re-looking at his line, re-looking at his entry of turn one, everything really looks spot on, but you could see as he started coming from the top of the racetrack towards the bottom, when you see that back end tracking outside the front end, you know that the thing just was free, and there's only so much you could do to catch that thing because it happens so darn fast. I mean, you fast hands help you, but it's not going to help you in a situation like that.
We can tell you that Stingray Robb is waiting to make his qualifying attempt, and then we'll have Nolan Siegel, Christian Rasmussen, Graham Rahal, Kyle Collette, and Alexander Rossi, Kiffin Simpson, Louis Foster, David Malukas. We will not have Felix Rosenquist, so we'll skip him, go to Marcus Armstrong. Then it is Hauger, Renus VK, Roman Grosjean, Joseph Newgarden, and Marcus Ericsson. And your last five qualifiers, Pato Award, Kyle Kirkwood, Christian Lundgaard, Scott McLaughlin, and Alex Palou.
One thing too, Mark, about these racetracks, sometimes driver information is frustrating when the front of the car is pushing too much. We heard Santino say, man, the front end just took off, had way too much push, but then I almost spun out the other end. Well, both those, that's not a good balanced race car at all. And sometimes the driver, when that understeer, you feel it and you really feel it's costing you a lot, you say, free the car up, make that back, less grip, make the front grip more. But you have to do it in really small increments on any kind of oval.
As we know from Indy, I don't care if the dimensions are the same, there are no two turns alike, correct?
Not here. There's definitely no turns alike here at all whatsoever. I think the most consistent thing is turns 1 and 2. But even at that, it's such high speed, such a long corner, you're in it forever. So, yeah, this track, nothing's the same about it.
Alex Wolf.
At Dixon has been the debriefing of the PNC Bank crew and how the car feel on your run.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Balance-wise, I think, we were kind of there, but we're just kind of on the edge of, the box. So if anything kind of doesn't feel right or go right through the corner, it just gets exaggerated. So, yeah, it was not a super clean run. As soon as you get into the middle 1 and 2, where you want to actually start turning more, the car turns by itself. And I think that's, what we saw with Will. Hopefully he's okay, where it just kind of over-rotates. So wind direction's definitely different. Track temps come up probably 30 degrees since we ran this morning. And all of us were struggling a little bit this morning too, so it's just been a bit exaggerated, I think.
I mean, you're running so fast out there, talking about those wind speeds. I mean, how much time do you really have to assess all that before you really turn a quick qualifying run?
Well, you go in, with positive mindset. Obviously, that you just think you're going to stay flat and the car's going to have, loads of grip. And then you just really got to back up from that and alter if it doesn't go that way, especially right out of the gate. So, all of us, it's just by feel, how the car's rotating, how it's yawing, and then, adjust on the movement.
We'll see where it stacks up. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
That's why they're the best at what they do, Dave.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's hard to, put, when you're putting that into 20-second laps around a 1-mile course, there's a lot of action going on, and Scott had it just right. You have to evaluate it. You got to go for it. It's a high commitment, as we talked before, but you just have to go for it. And as he said, you don't even really have to turn down in 1 and 2. The car does it itself. That's never comforting.
Fast hands, but not too fast, right?
That's right. Nothing, because we talked to Alex, Felix, when he went out earlier this morning, had that accident. He said, the thing got loose, I saved it, but then it got loose again, and that's sometimes what happens. You kind of overcorrect, and then it bites you again.
Well, as is always the case, the AMR INDYCAR safety crew really did a quick cleanup and an assessment out there, and everything is back to normal. Safety crew has returned to their appointed positions, and Stingray Rob Davey takes the green flag and points it into turn number 2.
Yeah, hopefully a little bit better run this weekend for Stingray. Bad start for him, too, causing a bit of an accident there at St. Petersburg. But the good news is he was able to go on and get some laps in right now. He didn't practice very good here, but we'll see what we can do in qualifying.
Really low at the entrance to turn number 4, and then pops it back up to the high side. Lap number 1 is in the books for Stingray Rob, 172.584, setting up for turn number 3.
That's faster than he qualified or practiced this morning, so they obviously found a little something. He's got some comfort, and that's the fastest he's been all weekend.
Off of turn number 3, gets the left sides to the bottom of the racetrack. Now going to wash up high, and he makes that bender around through turn number 4. Crosses the start-finish line. Pretty consistent run off of 172.584, 172.487, 172.536. The 2-lap average. Consistent run for Stingray Rob.
Yeah, actually a really good run, putting him in P2 out of the 5 cars that attempted. So good, actually a really good run for Stingray.
And conditions are ever improving, we think.
Yeah, they are, and we got to, just continue. At 30 degrees warmer from the practice session. That's gigantic. Obviously, the track temps up, and then the wind has picked up when there was 0 this morning. And as we talked about, it's a headwind going down that back straightaway into turn 3, and obviously a tailwind going into 1, which that actually hurts wheel power on trying to get that additional rear grip right now.
Yeah, I think setup is easier when that wind is in a direction and is constant, but when it's swirly and gusty, that's when it gets tough.
That's what it makes it really difficult, and you always like that headwind going into the most difficult corner for the reason of it slows you down a little bit, but it gives you max amount of downforce with these cars we got.
So the NTT data machine of Nolan Siegel has taken the green flag from Aaron Likens, Davey, and he looks pretty strong on his warm-up laps, already setting up for turn number 2.
That's right, that bright orange car from McLaren. McLaren always can't miss that one. Nolan needs a good run, needs a good starting spot, looks good going down in turn 3, let's drift up off turn 4, cross that start-finish line.
Pretty easy to ID him from his other 2 teammates because his is the one with the splash of blue on it for NTT data. Lap number 1 is in the books for Nolan Siegel, 172.568, already setting up for the backstretch.
Yeah, faster than I think also that he went this morning in practice. So really good run for him. Got some confidence in that Aero McLaren car. Another good line down there in turns 3, coming off of 4, crossing the line again.
Off of 172.568, 173.425, so lap 2 was quicker. That gives him 2-lap average just under 173 at 172.995.
There you go. I think we're going to start seeing that. Times are going to start coming up right now. Obviously, not the next car. Yeah, the next car out is one of the Ed Carpenter cars, who was fastest. They were P1 and P2 in the open practice with Rossi and Rasmussen. So one of those cars heading out right now on the track. We'll see what they could pull off and see if they can match their testing times.
21 of ECR's Christian Rasmussen going through his warm-up paces. Rahal, Collette, Rossi, Simpson, Foster, Malukas, Armstrong, Hauger. then VK, Grosjean, Newgarden, and Marcus Ericsson as qualifying is underway for the Good Ranchers 250 here at Phoenix Raceway. What an exciting weekend it's going to be. The weekend with our friends from the NASCAR world. Appreciate the folks from MRN for their hospitality this weekend, all of their technical and engineering support, and the use of this fabulous booth, Davey, high atop the start-finish line.
Yeah, what a view we have right now watching Rasmussen get up to speed, pokes it into turn 3, another right consistent line coming off of turn 4, going down this front straightaway through the dogleg he goes.
Good-looking warm-up laps for Rasmussen, winner last year at Milwaukee. Guides it through turn number 1, gets the left sides to the bottom of the racetrack, and attacks that outside retaining wall at the halfway point of the backstretch.
Looks a little high on that exit to turn 2 from this view. Nice line on the bottom and letting it drift up again off of this turn 4 across the white flag.
Lap number 1, going to be disappointed with that one, 170.505 again, 170.505 for Rasmussen.
Yeah, and what I see is same thing, a little bit high. It looks like maybe some understeer down in turn 1 and 2, just using too much racetrack coming off that corner.
So off a 170.505 lap, lap number 2 is in the books, and he gathered it back in, bumped it up to 172.587, improving the 2-lap average, Davey, to 171.540.
You're definitely not going to like that. Puts him in P5 out of the 7 attempts so far.
Schumacher right now is at 173.667, then Siegel, then Robb, then Dixon, then Rasmussen, and then Ferrucci. Graham Rahal to come, then Kyle Collette. Rahal headed out to the track now. Then Rossi, Simpson, Foster, Malukas, Armstrong, Hauger, VK, Grosjean, Joseph Newgarden, Marcus Ericsson, and more.
And I think Graham would be the first teammate that's had a teammate go out first and be able to evaluate the track. Then that was Mick Schumacher, who's tentatively quick time right now.
Some people wonder how much a rookie could help a veteran, but, you know, they could all help.
Yeah, they could all help, because all he really has to do is say what the balance change was from earlier to late to now. And if their cars are close set up the same, Graham would kind of have an idea, maybe even made some adjustments for that. Graham, as I said earlier, he was the first one to really lay down a good lap this morning.
And we'll see what Graham Rahal is able to do now as he takes the green flag. Graham Rahal with 3 starts here. He finished 9th in 2018, 21st in 2017, and had a top 5 finish back in 2016, so a couple of top 10s for Graham Rahal.
A great line off of turn 2 right there. Pokes it down to turn 3. Seems momentum's up right now. A little bit of understeer maybe coming off of turn 4.
Lap number 1 is in the books for Graham Rahal, 174.426 miles per hour. Graham Rahal setting up for turn number 2.
Yeah, there you go. Right to that white line, yellow line, through turns 1, 2, down that back straight or front straightaway he goes.
Fifth Third Bank, the sponsorship on the car for Graham Rahal as he sets up for the start-finish line. Lap number 1 at 174.426. Lap number 2, 173.562. And the 2-lap average, 173.693 for Graham Rahal.
I think really good run for him. Going to be happy. How about that right now as it stands? 2 Rahal, Lehrman, Lanigan cars, first and second out of the 8 that have won. I know it's early on, but that's still, you know, that team's coming around. They're starting to get some good numbers down and starting to get consistent with their times.
Alex Wolf.
Our Milwaukee winner last year, Christian Rasmussen. Christian, tell us about that run.
Yeah, pretty terrible. I don't know. We definitely lost the balance here between this morning and now. Completely different. I was way looser and was just, struggling with the car. So unfortunate, because we've had a really fast race car, and we had high hopes for this, but that was definitely, we didn't live up. I don't think we lived up to our potential there, just missing it on balance, unfortunately.
That's Christian Rasmussen.
Yeah, they'll have some work to do on race day for sure, as Kyle Collette really tiptoes through turns 3 and 4, Davey, and he takes the green flag on his warm-up lap.
Yeah, this is not going to be a good lap at all. You could see where he just had to jump out of the throttle down there in turns 3 and 4. Doesn't even look that fast down turn 1 and 2. He's going down that back straightaway right now into turn 3. Coming off 4, looks better, but then lost a lot of momentum.
Lap number 1 of the books, 167.196 for Kyle Collette.
Yeah, our eyes did not deceive us. He just does not have that speed in that AJ Foyt racing car right now. Same thing, not looking fast in turns 1 and 2. going down into 3. He is in the line, but just the speed is just not there.
167.196 on lap number 1. Lap number 2 is in the books as well. A tick faster, 168.100. And now the 2-lap average shows up at 167.647 for Kyle Collette.
Yeah, unfortunately, not going to be happy. 8th out of the 9 that have qualified. So the only guy that he's faster did not finish his qualifying run.
And that's about some 5 mile an hour slower than Santino Ferrucci.
Yeah, just not a good, just can't get comfortable. You know, this is his first time in this track. He is definitely a rookie. I haven't seen good speed out of him on the test or this weekend, so just not comfortable yet in that car.
Podium finish here in 2018 for Alexander Rossi, our next qualifier. 15th place finish in 2017, finished 14th in his debut in 2016. Most importantly, Alexander Rossi was the fastest in the 2-day test here at Phoenix.
Yeah, sure was. Now, Rasmussen, his teammate, very disappointed in his run of that ECR team. We'll see now if some information came to Rossi, maybe made a few changes in that car. We'll have to wait and see. He's on his warm-up lap now, coming down that back straightaway, heading into turn 3.
Line looks really good. He got a little bit lower off that outside retaining wall than most drivers. It arcs it into turn number 4. He takes the green flag. Alexander Rossi with the run underway. Pretty impressive warm-up lap, Davey, at 172 and change.
Yeah, no, it looks pretty good. Speed doesn't look bad. His line is very nice. Looks like maybe, you know, he has a little quicker entrance or exit off of turn 3 into turn 4 than most, but we'll keep an eye on it right now. Kind of the same thing. Looks good. Looks like he can keep the momentum up through there.
Clears turn number 4. Lap number 1 is in the books. 173.580 for Alexander Rossi, already setting up for turn 2.
Yeah, already on that white line on the bottom of the racetrack, coming off at turn 2, going down the back straightaway. Really good run. I think I know it's not going to be a pole speed, but I think he's going to be happy with it.
Bottom of the racetrack with the left sides, and it'll sweep out wide as he sets up for turn number 4 off of 173.5, 173.269. Consistent run, Davey, results in a 2-lap average of 173.389 for Alexander Rossi, who's third fastest. Let's go to DJ.
Just a second on Will Power here, Mark. We'll get to him very shortly.
All right, we'll wait to hear from Will Power and get exactly what the deal was on his incident. So Rossi, third fastest provisionally, Davey, 173 and 389, the 2-lap average.
Yeah, you know, he probably not going to be super happy with that, knowing that he was going for the pole here. They were faster than the practice, but he can't be too disappointed. I think that's a good number right now with these conditions. We don't see any cars just going tremendously faster than that. Obviously, he's P3 right now. That could set, you know, I think it could be a top 10 start for him.
Yeah, and I think a top 10 start is exactly where you want to be, because then you don't have to get overly creative with your race day.
Yeah,
strategy.
no, that's right. You know, and strategy is going to play a big part. We talked about that earlier. You know, when you pit here under green, you're going to go a couple laps down, and that is not fun to try to get back. So there's going to be a lot of luck in your timing of pit stops. Strategy is going to be a big part of it. Obviously, you want to be fast the entire race, because that's part of winning as well.
Not quite halfway through the qualifying line. We've had some holdups because of the incident with Will Power, but Kiffin Simpson is waiting to be released, and Louis Foster. David Malukas, Felix Rosenquist will not qualify because of the incident this morning. Then Marcus Armstrong, Dennis Hauger, Ritas VK, Roman Grosjean, Joseph Newgarden, and then Marcus Ericsson. And then Award, Kirkwood, Lundgaard, McLaughlin, and Alex Villot. To Alex Wolf.
A lot of smiles around the 15 crew and Graham Rahal. We saw you get out. Good congratulations for your teammate Mick Schumacher. Tell us about that run.
Yeah, it was a good, clean run, and that's, you know, that was actually, you know, honestly, I was just most impressed with Mick. I mean, to go out there, first guy, and to put the laps in he did, I thought was phenomenal. So, and it was obviously gave me confidence, and it should give Louis some as well to just go throw it in there. So, but for Wex and for Envy on his car and Drop Light and all of our partners to, you know, I mean, just like, look, it's who knows where we end up, but the reality is it was a damn good step forward, and we'll take it.
How are the conditions of the track feel versus this morning?
Track's good right now, and you know, a little wind picking up, but not like when we tested here. It was super windy. Ambient's good. Everything's pretty good. So yeah, it's fast.
Happiness all around in the Rahal Letterman Lanigan camp.
A couple of quality Buckeyes there in Graham Rahal and Alex.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I thought he brought up a great point. I mean, how much confidence will this give Louis Foster when he qualifies?
Well, it has to give him a lot, just like Graham said, when Schumacher, which we're all impressed with that run, not just him. I mean, I think a lot of pressure was on him. He went laid it down. And Graham said it the best. You got to just throw it in there, right? And that's the confidence that you have to have. And it's not easy to do, to talk yourself into going 180-plus miles an hour into these corners and say don't lift and try to get around here. So it's definitely a huge challenge. They both did a great job. But he is right. Louis, at this point, is going, wow, both those cars are great. You know the difference is set up between yours and theirs. You know exactly where you are as teammates. And so we could see another good run out of him.
Let's go to DJ Clark.
Down with Will Power, seen and released from INDYCAR Medical. Will, are you okay, and what happened out there?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, just was very loose the whole run, unfortunately, and yeah, didn't stay ahead of it enough, although I was adjusting, but yeah, I was very surprised that happened. Very surprised.
All right, that is very disconsolate, Will Power.
Yeah, obviously a lot of frustration and aggravation. A couple of weekends in a row for Will Power, Davey.
Yeah, and one thing I have to say, you know, when the faster you go in these cars, the more downforce they create. So I always said, hey, the fastest you're going to be is in the straightaway going in that corner. You got to keep that speed up because that's going to be the most downforce you get. So it's very, you know, odd that that's where he spun, going where you got the most downforce and the balance just wasn't right.
Interesting to see, interested, we should say, to see this qualifying run. It's Kiffin Simpson, who second half of last season found a lot of pace, had a more than respectable weekend on the streets of St. Petersburg, looking to carry some momentum in the season here to Phoenix, Davey, as he sets up for the halfway point of the backstretch.
Sure does, going down into turn 3 right now. Looked a little slow on that warm-up lap, to be really honest with you, coming down through here. We'll have to wait and see as he crosses the start-finish line for the white.
170.915 for Kiffin Simpson on lap number 1.
Yeah, I just seen the speed just drop down there for coming along for the green. Looks like a little bit high off of turn 2 as well. May have some understeer issues or just not comfortable with the back of that car. Either one, it's hard to tell from up here, but just doesn't have the speed coming off of turn 4.
Off of 179.15, a little faster, 171.967, the 2-lap average for Kiffin Simpson, 171.439 miles per hour. He's 8th fastest of the 10th qualifiers.
Yeah,
so far.
just not good. Just you could just see, especially that first warm-up lap, where you want your momentum high in turns 3 and 4 because they're coming down across for that green flag. You see he had to lift, or just the momentum was not there, just not comfortable with that car, it looks like.
So the question would be, I mean, is it a driver line, or is it a line that they're forced to run because of how the car is handled?
Yeah, no, I think it's where you're forced to run, because one thing about it, when the back of the car is not solid, and I have to say that you want to go in kind of straight, you don't want to turn that car much because you want that back end to be stuck down. But another thing, even with the understeer, you want to get down there early, try to get to the bottom racetrack, give yourself as much room as possible if the front of that car starts to take off and go towards the wall. So it usually, a ill-handling car makes a guy turn into the corners too early.
Graham Rahal said he expects Louis Foster to have the confidence after the run of he and Mick Schumacher to throw it in there and see what happens, and we'll see what he does here as Aaron Likens gives him the green flag and points him off to the other end of the racetrack, already setting up for turn number 3.
Yeah, good run through there, off the white line about a foot. A little hectic coming off, a little kind of squirted off down that back straightaways, goes into turn 3. Doesn't seem to have that speed just visually.
Lap number 1 of the books for Louis Foster, 172.184. Again, 172.184 off of turn number 1, setting up for the apex of turn 2.
Yeah, it just seems that, the speed's down from his teammates. If you watch him going to turn 3, which he's going through right now, it just seems like the car seems to really head up the racetrack a lot and kind of wobbles around, almost gets into the wall across the start finish.
Off of 172.184, a 171.472. Had to gather it back in, might have scrubbed off some speed. A 171.827 for Louis Foster, 7th fastest provisionally of the 11 qualifiers so far.
Yeah, that car out of the 3 Rahal Letterman cars, as Graham said, he should have confidence, but I think he did, but that car just didn't seem to have the same balance as Mick and Graham at all. And I mean, he threw it down in there, but boy, he really wobbled a lot coming off turn 4, almost getting that outside barrier.
Yeah, you saw at the entrance to 3 that things started to go awry there. So, I mean, when you're at the apex of turn 2, are you already thinking about the setup at turn number 3?
Yeah, no, you kind of have to focus. That's a tricky question because you should be, but that there is so much to be driven from the middle of turns 1 and 2 to the exit of 2 that you have to hit it just right, not to make that mistake. And then once you go down that back straightaway, you really are looking down the racetrack, which goes by fast, and focusing on that turn 3 to make sure you get that entry proper.
We talk about some tracks where you have a long straightaway and a chance to maybe get a hand off the wheel, flex a little bit. You probably don't have that kind of time.
This is a 1 mile short track right here. You're busy the entire way around, and as we talk to these drivers, they'll tell you that, man, they're so busy around this place, more so than any short track that we go to, because just the way the corners are. We see David Malukas on his warm lap looks really solid actually coming through turns 3 and 4, crosses that start finish line for the green.
Piloting the Verizon machine for the first time in his first season with Team Penske, and David Malukas looks pretty good after he took the green flag already at the halfway point of the backstretch.
A little high coming off down there, but still seemed like he had a lot of speed. Looks visually a lot of speeds going down to 3 and 4.
Lap number 1 is in the books for David Malukas, 175.671 miles per hour. A good lap for David Malukas.
Yeah, not just visual. The stopwatch showed it as well. Comes off of that turn 2 clean down that back straightaway. He's going to poke it down into turn 3. High momentum, a lot of speed. Oh, the most speed I've really seen through there. Really kind of a little wiggly coming off of turn 4, but cross that start finish line.
Off a 175.671, a 175.096. The 2-lap average, 175.383. That vaults him to P1.
There you go. That's what he wanted to have. Vaults into the top position where he was in practice. He was fastest in practice, and he backed it up in qualifying.
So it's Malukas and Rahal, then Schumacher and Rossi, then Siegel, Robb, Dixon, Foster, Rasmussen, Simpson, Ferrucci, and Kyle Collette. 12 cars have qualified so far. Let's hear from Kiffin Simpson.
Kiffin, just to take us inside the cockpit of the Sunoco Honda and how things were handling on your run.
Yeah, I don't know, not great for us there. We had a lot of bottoming through 1 and 2 especially, so just not very comfortable. But yeah, not really sure what went wrong there. I thought after practice we were feeling okay, felt like we had some more time in it, but yeah, in that one it just wasn't really there.
That's Kiffin Simpson.
Yeah, you can hear the bewilderment almost in his voice.
Yeah, you know, and one thing that he mentioned that we should talk about is the bottoming out. Sometimes these cars it's so critical how low these cars are, and tire pressure's got to come up to get these cars off the ground, and so that means that you have to get the speed quick.
Louis Foster, 8th fastest so far, as Marcus Armstrong is going through his warm-up paces.
Down on pit lane with Louis Foster. Louis, looked like that car was a little bit of a handful out there for you.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, a bit of an odd one, really. I mean, we made some good progress at the test, and my teammates are very happy, right? Obviously, that's a really, really good. So far, we'll see where it ends up, but really good qualifying for the team on Mick and Graham's behalf. But yeah, for me this weekend so far, I mean, I say this weekend today, really. I've definitely been struggling a lot more than the other two with the balance of the car. So we need to figure out why I seem to have issues and the others don't. Sure, there's something we're missing, because right now it doesn't seem right, but I kept out of the wall, which is good, but yeah, I wish it could have been a bit better.
Good signs for Louis Foster. He'll look to do better than practice later today.
Always good to keep it out of the wall, Davey.
That's always the first thing, as we see. Right now, we'll see where.
172.637 for Marcus Armstrong, lap number 1.
Yeah, puts in P7 right now, but he has to get this other lap. Both laps count here. Nice run down that back straightaway. He really has a good line as well. Down there in turn 3, the car drifts up. Looks like a pretty good line, and it looks like it has decent speed.
172.637, a consistent run. Lap number 2, 172.231, 2-lap average. 172.434 for Marcus Armstrong, provisionally 7th of the 13 qualifiers so far.
Don't know if he's going to be happy with that. Obviously, he's kind of a lone ranger. His teammate, Felix Rosenquist, will not partake in this qualifying run because of the incident earlier. So he's kind of on his own trying to figure out where the speed is. So not a bad run. Shouldn't be unhappy with that. It was medium, and that's where he's going to start in this race.
Just about 10 cars left. We've got Dennis Hauger, then Rinus VK, Roman Grosjean, Joseph Newgarden, Marcus Ericsson. The final 5 will be Pato Award, Kyle Kirkwood, Christian Lundgaard, Scott McLaughlin, and Alex Palou. So some potentially fast cars left.
Yeah,
in the
we
line.
got some fast cars, no question about it. One thing with Dennis Hauger, what a great run he had last week in St. Petersburg, getting a top 10 in his rookie race. But both him and Grosjean, teammates of that Delcoin Racing team, they have struggled in practice today. They weren't very high up on the charts, didn't seem to have a lot of confidence in their cars. And I don't think we'll see anything spectacular out of those two cars. Hopefully they found something, and hopefully they can be consistent. But early on, we didn't see any much speed out of those cars.
I think when you struggle in the morning session, you get ready for qualifying. Obviously, you hope you find something. But again, as we've talked about before, the danger is throwing too much of the car and making it worse.
Well, but when we talk ovals, you have to make small adjustments because you think, oh, man, the thing, as a driver, I may come in and say, man, the back end, I want to spin out so bad. I'm on top of, it's terrible. And then they hear you say that and they think, oh, man, it must really be bad. So they make a significant change, and you go out there and the thing won't turn. The back's so locked down. So you really have to have that emotion to your engineer, exactly how bad the car is or how good it is. And you could tell that a lot of that by the tone of the driver's voice, because if it's almost a panic mode, that means it's way off. And if you're just, it's just a little bit free in the back end's not quite stuck, that means just a little bit. But anytime you go to oval, no matter what, whether it's a big change that you think you need or a small change you think you need to stick with the small ones until you get where you need to be.
David Malukas, 175.383, joined on the front row provisionally by Graham Rahal, 173.993. Then Schumacher and Rossi, Siegel, Robb, Armstrong, and Dixon in row number 4. Row number 5 is Louis Foster, Christian Rasmussen, then Kiffin Simpson, and Santino Ferrucci and Kyle Collette, our slowest qualifier of the 13 so far at 167.196. And Davey, a long day for the crews of Felix Rosenquist and Will Power. Felix crashed in practice, did not qualify, and Will crashed on his first qualifying lap a few moments ago.
Yeah, never fun for those crews, but they're gonna, they know what they're doing. They'll get those cars back together, and they'll make the drivers confident when they get back in this car that's going to be ready to go.
DJ?
Marcus Armstrong out of the car. Guys in the booth were pretty complimentary. I see a smile on the face. Things well and nope, a shake of the head.
That was the hardest I've worked for P7 so far. No, it's pretty sketchy out there. So, I mean, it is what it is, but tomorrow we're going to have to fight through for sure. I'm confident we're going to have a stronger race car as well, so let's do it.
Sounds like a promise from Marcus Armstrong.
Extremely cerebral, I would say, and a very dry sense of humor, but there's a lot of things about this kid to like, and we really expect, we wouldn't at all be surprised to see him finally break through and get into victory lane.
Yeah, and that'd be great to see that for sure. And one thing we have to talk about, he is a lone ranger out there with his teammate getting in the wall earlier, no information to go off.
Alex Wolf.
David Malukas debriefing with the team after his run. David, fast off the truck in practice, fast in qualifying. Take us through your run.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty solid run. I think we got the setup close enough to where it needed to be. It wasn't perfect. Practice, the setup was damn near perfect. Here, it's a little bit on edge. And let's say lap 1 was a really good lap. Lap 2 needed some work. We kind of missed out a little bit. So if anybody gets it, it's because it's going to be because of that lap 2. But other than that, I mean, car was at least close to perfect. And yeah, the team did a very good job. So thank you for everybody on the number 12 car.
The waiting game begins for David Malukas.
Dennis Hauger, not good on lap number 1, Davey, 169.326.
And you can see that, just no confidence there, really high off at turn 2. Looks going down the back straight. We can just physically see that the mile per hour is not there. It goes down in turn 3. The car looks fairly stable, just the speed doesn't look like it's there.
For 169.326, a 170.313, the 2-lap average, 169.818, Davey. That's 13th fastest of the 14 qualifiers.
Yeah, he's not going to be happy with that, especially after last weekend, being in the Firestone Fast 6 and really being able to lay some good laps down during that race. But hey, it's oval, it's different for him. He needs to just keep getting laps. I think he's an outstanding driver, and they'll work it out.
Now, you mentioned the struggles they had this morning as a team.
Yeah, just
doesn't look like that they were able to solve his problems, and you don't know how much now he's been able to disseminate to his teammate who's going out for his warm-up laps right now.
Yeah, he'll actually be the next. Oh, that's this. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's going to be difficult, right, as a teammate to be able to go out and with no changes because you don't have enough time to get those changes done.
So we're taking a look at, he's sitting in the car right now, and he will go next as we're watching Rinus VK put his car through the paces in that beautifully liveried machine, red, white, and blue, primary blue, and a lot of white color splashing off of that car. So he already is working his way through his warm-up lap, setting up for turn 2.
And, you know, one thing with VK, we're used to seeing him in green cars, that Uncos Hollander, right? So it's different for us to see the new sponsors that came on board, which is great to see. VK coming off at turn 3 into 4. It doesn't show a lot of confidence. Car looks somewhat stable through there, but didn't look like I had a lot of speed.
173.389, lap number 1 for Rinus VK, 173.389.
Yeah, actually a really good lap for what it looked like. He came off at 2, a little more solid that time. Goes into turn 3, is in the perfect line right now, lets the thing slide up. Yeah, looks stable. Hopefully a good lap this time around.
Lap number 2 off of 173.389, 173.108. Consistent run resulted in a 2-lap average of 173.248, Davey. Provisionally P5 for Rinus VK.
Yeah, really puts him in a good position right behind Rossi, in between Siegel. How about Siegel hanging in there as well in that P6 spot?
Yeah, it's Malukas and Rahal, then Schumacher and Rossi, then VK and Siegel are 5th and 6th. 7th and 8th are Robb and Armstrong. Scott Dixon, Louis Foster, 9th and 10th. Rasmussen 11th. Simpson is 12th. Ferrucci 13th. Hauger is 14th. And Kyle Collette is 15th.
Now we are going to see the teammate in that Dale Coyne Racing of Dennis Hauger, Romain Grosjean. Got to remember, strong run last week and hasn't been in a car all last year. He just watched, and so this is going to be new for him.
How much could he have told him about that run? I mean, his teammate. I mean, he sat there for a little while, but, you know, it's easier if you could talk face-to-face.
Yeah, it is easier. He just had to really throw out there, hey, just what the balance change from this morning to now was, and that is if their cars are set up somewhat the same, and if Dennis says, hey, I'm just lacking downforce, they probably had a little bit of opportunity to put a little more downforce in the car.
Talk about the change in the, how much does it change from the first lap to the second lap?
Well, yeah, you know, and that's another thing is it's sometimes that's a big thing. We heard that from Malukas, right? That the first lap felt good, but the second lap, the grip started going away, the balance started changing, and as we get temperature in the tires, the tire pressure gets built up, you're going to feel that.
A green flag flies as he starts the setup for turn number 1. He'll stay to the outside retaining wall, then work it to the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, it looks good down there in turns 1 and 2. Boy, they go through there so fast, even when you're not up to speed. But I don't think this is a great lap, but he's doing a good job. He's on pace, and perfect line through. The car looks solid. We'll see what the speed is.
First lap for Romain Grosjean, 170.854. Again, 170.854.
Yeah, definitely not the number he's looking for. They want that 173 plus right now. The car does look solid, just lacking of speed at this point.
Getting ready to wrap up the run here of Romain Grosjean. Clears the bottom of turn number 3. Lets it wash up at the exit of turn number 4. Checkered flag flies. Lap number 2, 170.773. Consistent, just not very fast. 170.814. 13th fastest of the 16 qualifiers so far, Alex Wolf.
Rinus VK, fist bumps all around for Uncos Hollander Racing. Rinus, when you're out here on these qualifying runs, how's the feel of the car change between lap 1 and lap 2?
Honestly, I'm pretty happy. It didn't change too much. I'm happy with that. Yeah, great job by the team. We even though it got a lot warmer from practice to qualifying, wind picked up, balance stayed pretty good. So really good job. I was very happy. The number 76 Arco car was quick around there. So I'm hoping to qualify around the top 10. I think that's all we need to have a solid start to the race. So yeah, it looks like we're hanging in pretty decent here.
That's Rinus VK. Over to DJ.
Catching up with Dale Coyne Racing's Dennis Hauger. Dennis, a little disconsolate, I think. Maybe not the best run out there for you?
Yeah, it was not too bad. Just was hitting the limiter both straights. So I think we did something wrong with the 6th gear. So I don't know what happened there, but definitely a big loss. So a bit annoying. Just obviously it was a clean run, but it's always annoying when things aren't going, you know, as planned. So we'll see what happened there, and we'll have 250 laps tomorrow to try and gain some time again.
Well, watch out for this man on those 250 laps. He'll be quick.
3 top 10 starts, 3 top 10 finishes for Joseph Newgarden, including a win in 2018. Lap number 1, 174.718 as he points it towards turn number 2.
Yeah, really good first lap. Puts him P2 on that first lap. We'll see if he could round that off right behind his Penske teammate, Malukas. Goes into turn 3. You can see the speed. You can just see it going through there. Really solid coming off of turn 4.
Glides through 3 and 4 off that 174.718, 174.379. A consistent run. The 2-lap average for Joseph Newgarden, 174.548. Bumps Graham Rahal down to P3 and puts him on the front row provisionally with his teammate David Malukas.
2 Penske cars on that front row. No surprise. But and we know Joseph, he needs to talk about some luck and starting to get some finishes. He hasn't had that for a while, and no better place to do it. And he's known to be fast on the ovals. We'll see if he can do it here tomorrow.
It looked to be a disastrous weekend for him at St. Pete after that Friday crash, and he did not make it out of the first round of qualifying. But, boy, I'll tell you what, good bounce back for him on race day.
Yeah, really good bounce back. He had to be happy with that. He passed more cars than anybody else and got that award. And that Penske team, they do what they do, and they make fast pit stops, try to gain as much ground as you can, in the pits and not on the racetrack. But Joseph did a good job doing some passing and making some ground up.
35-year-old Marcus Ericsson from Sweden, our next qualifier, and again, a good weekend for him, which was badly needed to start off this season. He was like 20th in points last year, Davey?
Yeah, that's right, and that's another TWG car, so teammates with Will Power, and so we'll see where he lands right now. But he's had a lot of time between Will's run and this one just to see if they did any kind of balance change, to see if they could find anything, to lock that car down a little better for Ericsson.
Former Indy 500 champion as well. Marcus Ericsson looks like a pretty clean line off of turn number 4. Aaron Likens waves him down the front straightaway as he's already setting up for turn number 2.
Yeah, stays off that white line about 8 inches going down through 1 and 2. Comes off nicely. Plenty of room between him and the wall. So he's going to that back straightaway into turn 3. A lot of speed. Not quite as we see with Newgarden, but a good run through there.
Climbs up the banking at the exit of turn number 3. Lap number 1, 172.568 for Marcus Ericsson.
And not what he wants to see. Like I said, they want to be above that 173, but right now he makes it farther than his teammate did. Made it through turns 1 and 2, going down into turn 3 now.
Might land him mid-pack if he can stay in the 172 range off of 172.5. Lap number 2 is in the books for Marcus Ericsson. 172.161. 2-lap average, 172.364. Currently 10th fastest of the 18 qualifiers, Alex.
Roman Grosjean right now having a conversation with Paul Tracy walking along the pit lane. And Roman, tell us about the 18 car in that qualifying run.
I think we made good progress. Honestly, we changed the setup a lot from the practice. We're not happy. I think we messed up the gearing because we went a lot faster in the corner. So it's not disastrous. It's not great, but should be all right.
Roman Grosjean focusing forward towards tomorrow.
That's a veteran response there, Davey. As you mentioned, a lot of issues this morning. Feels pretty happy about the progress they made, which gives them optimism for race day.
Yeah, and another good thing that gives them both those teams out of that coin, they missed the gearing just a little bit, which is easy to do. And when you're on the limiter, that means you need more gear. You need that thing to pull all the way down the straightaway, not just get to a certain speed, and that's all you have. And so both cars are going to gain some from that. And another thing that does, Mark, when it slows your mile per hour down the straightaways, it affects the entire corner because you're not going in the corner as fast. Sometimes the mid-corner speed's not up as much as it should be, so that could gain them quite a bit just staying off that rev limiter.
Ward was fast earlier today, then Kirkwood, then Lundgaard, McLaughlin, and Alex Palou. So the starting lineup is far from decided.
Yeah, far from decided. We see Pato Ward P2 in practice this morning. Had a lot of confidence in his car. Obviously, balance has changed a little bit. He has had a teammate to go out there actually in Siegel. He's actually sitting pretty good in that 7th spot right now. So I expect to see some good things out of the Aero McLaren cars, the 2 that are left with Pato Ward and Lundgaard. So, and then another one that just, Ericsson just went, and his teammate Kirkwood, who finished 4th in St. Petersburg, will be the next car after Pato.
4 of the 5 trying to break up the Penske party, which currently occupies the front row in Malukas and Newgarden.
That's right, but then you got one more to try to get in there, and that is McLaughlin. He did he led a lot of laps, set on the pole the first race. Momentum's going there. car looks beautiful. You never know what he has. He didn't have a stellar run this morning, but you know that car's fast.
Roger and his team celebrating their 60th anniversary this weekend here at Phoenix, and a little media gathering earlier today. And so nothing would cap off the celebration by maybe sweeping the top 3 spots and getting the race.
Yeah, and not only that, he's got a cup team here as well.
That's
so
right.
You'd like to see those guys do what an opportunity to be able to have your 60th anniversary at a racetrack where both of your you have cars in NASCAR, you have cars in INDYCAR. They're both here at the same time. Great place to do it.
And in INDYCAR, you have 8 wins here as a team. That's not bad
Yeah, that's
either.
not too bad. I remember, there's been a lot of people on streaks here at Phoenix, and once you kind of feel this place and know it, and you come back year after year, you seem to be quick. And by the way, if you recall, this used to be the race before the Indy 500,
that's right.
and momentum. I always said, man, if you do good at Phoenix, it seems like an automatic that you're going to do good at Indy, because that was kind of the pattern back in the day. And so, Penske won here a lot, and he's won at Indy a lot, so they're trying to pick that routine up.
To that end, there's a ton of former Indy 500 winners and a ton of former pole sitters that have won races here at Phoenix over the years.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It just seems something matches up with it, and I don't know exactly what it is, because you can't get more opposites of racetracks, but it seems like whatever reason, do good at Phoenix, and man, you better be excited about the Indianapolis Motor Speedway coming up in May, because they seem to do well there as well.
Popularity grows with each and every race and each and every season. The likable young man, Pat Award, is working his way already down the back straightaway and looking for a good solid qualifying run after a good practice session this
really
morning.
good run down that back straight. It just looks fast, but that orange always does right there. Comes across that white flag right now.
So lap number 1 is in the books, 174.757. That's 174.757.
He's backing it up already. What he had, a little bit high off of turn 2, but looks solid. Didn't have to lift at all. Goes down that back straightaway. High commitment down in turn 3. He's going to take it all the way to the bottom. Slides up. Car looks super stable.
Off of 174.757, lap number 2. Boy, he lost some speed there. 171.953, Davey. And the 2-lap average drops him down to P6 at 173.344.
Yeah, I think it looked to me, we're completely opposite from it, but coming off of turn 2, it looked like he just got a little high, like the front of that car washed up off of turn 2 and just lost a lot of ground there.
Alex Wolf.
Marcus Ericsson, watching the qualifying runs. Did anything sort of change a mindset or car-wise after you saw the issue for your teammate Will Power early in this session?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a concern when your teammate have a crash and you're running pretty similar cars. So, yeah, that was, a shame for us as a team. But, yeah, my run was okay. It was, still lacking a bit, but decent enough run.
Marcus Ericsson looks ahead to practice later today.
Not a ton of confidence in that voice.
Yeah, not like he had last week, right? I mean, I think this situation where he's just not super comfortable on the ovals, but he's an Indy 500 winner, so, and that is an oval. But this one's just a little bit tricky right now, as you see his other teammate Kyle Kirkwood just crossing that line, just now accepting the green flag.
He is on the green flag from Aaron Likens, and just like that, setting up for turn number 2. It just doesn't take long to work your way around here.
Man, it doesn't. Down that back straightaway so quick in the 22nd bracket, and the car looks good. The speed looks down, looks stable, really good line, but just doesn't look like he has quite the speed needed.
And to your point, lap number 1, 173.126 again for Kyle Kirkwood, 173.126 exiting turn number 2.
Yeah, it looks like the best so far for that TWG group as a whole. That's the 3 cars. Still the same thing, just down on speed a little bit. The car looks really stable down 2, 3, and 4.
173.126, 172.630. Lap number 2 for Kyle Kirkwood gives him a 2-lap average of 172.878. Davey, provisionally 9th fastest among the 20 qualifiers so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be happy with that. Just take what he can. Obviously, they want to be farther up than that. That team just seems to be lacking some speed right now. They have a lot going on as a team. You got to remember that first weekend is a Formula One team as well. People scattered all over, but right now, I don't know what's exactly going on internally, but just not the speed that they expected for these first couple races.
I know David Malukas probably looks like he's a cool customer right now, but he knows that there are 3 good cars waiting to take a shot. I think the first one is Christian Lundgaard. After that, it'll be McLaughlin and then Alex Palou. It's Malukas, Newgarden on the front row provisionally. Rahal and Schumacher in row number 2, then Rossi, Award, VK, Siegel, Kirkwood, and Robb, then Armstrong and Ericsson 11th and 12th, 13th Dixon, Grosjean, 14th Foster, 15th Rasmussen, 16th Simpson, 17th Grosjean. Ferrucci is currently 18th fastest, 19th Dennis Hauger, 20th Kyle Collette. Will Power, Felix Rosenquist won't get qualifying runs off a Rosenquist crash during practice. Will Power at the start of qualifying.
Yeah, they're going to have an uphill battle right now. As you see Lundgaard going down in turn 3. Another good run for the Arrow McLaren car coming across for that green flag right now. Warm-up laps looks pretty good.
Exit of turn number 1 as he is on it big time. And off of turn number 1, he gets the left sides to the bottom of the racetrack. It'll wash out to the outside retaining wall, already to the halfway point of the backstretch.
But down in turn 3, throws it in there with confidence, no question. Right to the very bottom of the racetrack. Maybe a small little wiggle as he comes off turn 4.
Lap number 1 is in the books for Lundgaard, and he will not be happy with this run unless he picks it up mightily on lap number 2, Davey, 171.397 miles per hour.
Yeah, right there you're not. And it looks like he looked conservative down there in 1 and 2 this time. Line looks good. Speed didn't look like it was quite there. You can see him right on the bottom, really trying to get that car to turn, but it just doesn't have the stability coming off turn 4 as his teammates.
171.397, 171.735, 2-lap average, 171.566, Davey. He will slot in at 15th.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, the times are so close here. You just miss it by, a couple mile an hour. That puts you back maybe 4 or 5 rows. But most impressively right now, I'm telling you, Mick Schumacher with only 2 cars to go in that second row. Worst he's going to start on an oval, his first time ever to ovals, never raced on one before, never even seen one before, is going to be in that third row, worst case scenario.
That might be why he takes exception to being labeled a rookie.
Yeah, that's right. No, and what a job. I mean, the credit, because I know in the cockpit how hard these tracks are, especially if you've never seen one before, know how to go about it.
I mean, that hire came out of nowhere. That's one of those that people said, wow.
Yeah, wow. And happy to have him over here. What a name, what credibility that we have. We see McLaughlin, really high off on his warm-up lap off at turn 4. He has the green flag now, Mark, going down. Looks solid into turn 3, bringing it right down to that yellow line.
He got about as high in front of us as anybody has.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other one just had a big wiggle there and almost hit the wall. But that, when he come off at turn 3, the thing just really took off. Looks like the front of that car just really went towards the top of the racetrack. A little better this time, but still using up a lot of track coming off of 4.
Lap number 1 for Scott McLaughlin, 174.024 miles per hour as he aims it into turn number 2.
Yeah, good speed still, but man, it looks like he's working that car really high off at turn 2 as well. Speed looks good down that back straightaway. We'll see if he can cut a better line in turn 3 or if it slides up still really high coming off turn 4.
174.024. Lap number 2, 172.877. A noticeable drop off to a 173.448 for Scott McLaughlin. Still pretty good. 5th fastest. Scott McLaughlin to 2-lap average, 173.448.
A really good run. You could tell on that second lap, and we talked to several of the drivers, say, hey, man, first lap felt good, but the second one, and down there to me, it looked like McLaughlin coming off a 2 was just above the dark line from where we could see, just a bit high. And then it just looks like he can't keep the car down low from turn 3 to turn 4, just drifts up too high too quickly.
Well, here we go.
Yeah.
Alex Below, our last qualifier.
I'd be highly surprised to see him be towards the top. I mean, he's going to be towards the top of the field, but I don't see him taking maybe the first couple rows. But this
With
is
what he's done the last couple of years, you'd be surprised.
This is Alex Palou. This guy could do so much. I mean, he was quick in practice, looked solid. Seems like the Ganassi as a group haven't been super fast in this qualifying session. We'll just see what they could do for balance. He got some information, obviously, from the teammates. This guy could be from, first to 10th, but I can't tell you where. But right now, never count this guy out because this is his 100th race, and he's going for another win.
Well, bottom line is this. Lap number 1 will tell us. And David Malukas' first lap was 175.671. So that'll give you an idea of what he has to do, at least on lap number 1. We should know pretty early.
Yeah, we're going to know early. Yeah, and that happens. We haven't seen very many guys at all be faster on lap 2 than they were on lap 1. So you need that monster lap 1, no question about it. Comes off turn 2, looking good on his warm-up lap, going down the back into turn 3. Speed's not there, but it's normal on your warm-up lap. A nice line through turns 4.
Understandably confident after the 2-day test here last month. He feels like that a second line could come in. There's going to be some practice later today that will help that process. Alex Palou already setting up for the backstretch.
Yeah, really good line, turns 1 and 2. That gives you confidence. Looks like he has to be a little wiggly going down in turn 3. Looks like he was aggressive with it, but good run coming off of 4.
Lap number 1 for Alex Palou, 172.648 miles per hour.
Yeah, I just didn't see it. Right now, the Ganassi cars just seem to be struggling. That's where I said you just never know with Alex. He can pull, cat out of the hat. But right now, just that the speed's not there. Looks good. Looks like he just has to be really aggressive with the car getting into turn 3.
Question is where he's going to land. 172.648, lap number 2. A tick faster, 173.313. 2-lap average, 172.980. And he will land 10th fastest and ready for the starting field tomorrow. And how about David Malukas, race number 2 in that Verizon machine, and he is a pole sitter.
He's a
in the
pole
NTT
sitter.
INDYCAR
Yeah,
series.
that's right. Good for him. Good for that Penske organization. How about this? Penske on the front row, Ray Hall Letterman on the second row, Graham Ray Hall, and his teammate Mick Schumacher.
So rolling off from the rear of the field will be Will Power and also Felix Rosenquist because of their incidents today. Starting also in the last row, the next to the last row will be Kyle Collette. In row number 11, it'll be Santino Ferrucci and Dennis Hauger. In row number 10, it'll be Kiffin Simpson and Roman Grosjean. Row number 9, Christian Lundgaard and Christian Rasmussen. Scott Dixon, Louis Foster in row number 8. Row 7 will be Marcus Armstrong and Marcus Ericsson. In row number 6, Kyle Kirkwood, Stingray Robb. Row 5 will be Nolan Siegel and Alex Pillow. Paddle Award and Regis VK in row number 4. In row 3, Scott McLaughlin, Alexander Rossi. Ray Hall and Schumacher make up row number 2. Joseph Newgarden on the outside of row number 1. And David Malukas on pole.
Yeah, no surprise there. I mean, he was the fastest early on. He repeated it. Penske obviously very, very strong, taking over that front row right now. And I can't say enough for row 2. I mean, we always said for years, if Graham Rahal could get his qualifying in line, watch out, because he always finishes way better than he qualifies. Well, he doesn't need to finish very much better than where he qualified. He's going to start in that P3 position and with his teammate on that side of him. So good run for that team. Can't remember the other Penske car, too. I mean, McLaughlin 5th and Rossi, who was fast here in practice, you're going to pull off the top 6 start.
And I think Graham Rahal, in some of the interviews of the preseason and at Content Day earlier this year in Indianapolis, said he feels like that they did more during this offseason over the wall than they've ever done as a race team.
Yeah, how about that? That's really good news, right? And it's paying off. You can see the speed's paying off. Everything that they're doing, it's paying off to show results right there. And they got a good group of guys together. Another one, Pato Ward, P2 in practice, but lost some kind of, something happened on that second lap, lost a lot of speed. Still, though, going to pull off in that 7th spot with, how about Renus VK? No matter what team he's with, no matter what, he just is a talented guy, man. I think that he's a guy that's hungry. He wants to get it done. And with that Uncos Hollinger team, different looking car, whole different environment down there, and he seems to be strong.
Some of the prognosticators have suggested that it's time for Nolan Siegel to start producing results, and he's kind of hearing that noise a little bit. He had a good qualifying run today. He'll start in the top 10.
That's right. That 9th position, Nolan Siegel, we continue to say it. Hey, out of that Arrow McLaren team, you got some tough teammates, no question about it, but the results are going to have to start showing. Well, he's going to try to do that right here at Phoenix Raceway on this 1 mile oval. And outside of him, you got the 4-time champ, the last weekend's winner, Alex Pillow, starting right outside him in 10th.
Some folks not happy with Stingray Robb after the incident at St. Pete, but he had a nice rebound. Davey, good 12th place qualifying spot for Stingray.
Stingray Robb in 12th position, but it is David Malukas with his first pole of the 2026 season. How about that? He has taken the number 12 to the top in just his second outing, and he's the man who he replaced, Will Power, starting 24th, Rosenquist 25th. So this is how they run. David Malukas, Joseph Newgarden, leader Penske 1-2. Graham Rahal ahead of Mick Schumacher. He's in 4th. Scott McLaughlin then for Penske is on the outside of row 3 alongside then Alexander Rossi. Then it's Pato Award, Venus VK, Nolan Siegel, Alex Pillow, the top 10. Kyle Kirkwood, Stingray Robb, Marcus Armstrong, Marcus Ericsson, Scott Dixon, Louis Foster, Christian Lundgaard, Christian Rasmussen, Kiffin Simpson, Roman Grosjean, Santino Ferrucci, Dennis Hauger, Kyle Collette, Will Power, and then it's Felix Rosenquist. Well, I hope you like the new qualifying graphics. Thanks for joining us. Join us again in around about an hour and 20 minutes time for the final practice ahead of tomorrow's race at the Oval. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.